Welcome to the Mock Box. My name is SMC, and we're going to talk today about the Philadelphia Flyers and the Washington Capitals game that just took place. I have 5 takeaways that I got from watching the game. I don't get to watch a whole lot of hockey in its entirety, so this is something that I was excited to do. I don't really have a vested interest in either team, but just looking at a couple of the stats here and watching that game from start to finish, here are the 5 takeaways I got. The first being the Flyers, really, you can see why this team went on an 8-game win streak from that very first period. It was explosive. They really got off the ice. The face-offs, they immediately got on the grind. Had a lot of good opportunities. In the opening, you really saw the Caps really on the ropes. They were playing the defensive scheme, had 3 different power play opportunities, and to Washington's credit, they were able to bat them all back, but you really saw Philadelphia really be aggressive on the puck, and for most of the first period, I would argue that the Flyers really had the advantage. They were going hard and fast, and they were going for these really strong offensive strikes. They were setting up plays well, but it just didn't seem to connect, and of course, we'll get into that as the game progressed, but really, I was impressed by the way the Flyers, particularly Giroux and his passing skills to really get it to each and every player, but we'll talk about the passing in a second. So you could see why the Flyers team has been in the playoff talks, at least up until the first half of this season. They've really gotten a lot of that power to them. But that leads me to the second point, which is really, there were so many opportunities, especially within that first period and about halfway through the second period, where in 4 power play opportunities, they should have had 3 or 4 goals, I would say, just from watching the rotation, especially their offensive play calling. Really, when going around the back, they had a lot of opportunities, a lot of open lanes, and yet they didn't take them. They couldn't take them, primarily because although Giroux had a great day of passing, nobody else did. There were so many opportunities that were lost by this Flyers team just for lack of puck control. And a lot of the times it wasn't even the Caps defense that was doing that. It was just miscues and miscommunication on the Flyers' behalf that really cost them in this game. And the final score of the game, by the way, was 5-0 Washington. Washington extending their win streak to 9. The Flyers now have won 3 of their last 11. And I don't know what the losing streak is currently for them. I haven't looked at it. But Washington, with this win, has now taken the lead in points atop the Eastern Conference and edging out Columbus by 1 point. But we'll get to that in a second, too, because point number 3 is I have to applaud the second goalie, the one who's not normally playing for the Caps, their rotation out. I don't know the actual name of the player. I could look it up here. But I was really impressed with, particularly in that first period where they were coming over and over. They got the Flyers had 13 shots to the Caps 4 in the first period. And really props to this backup goalie who kept it hard and fast. I mean, he earned his money in that first period, and then the defense itself stepped up to the plate, so then he didn't, the pressure was off him just a little bit. So I really thought that was an explosive and very well done performance by this Capitals goalie. You can tell that he's studied, he's learned, and he's really aggressive when it comes to watching the puck awareness. Very nicely done. Point number 4 is kind of in the same vein, which is the execution defensively by this Washington Capitals team. I mean, you can see why they're 9 wins straight. They've had just so many different shots come at them, but their puck awareness is actually quite good. There were a lot of pass plays that were broken up. That really heads-up play that led to the power play goal in the second period. The score was 1-0 at the end of the second. I can't remember the player's name, but it was a Flyer going to clear it, and in a defensive/offensive move, this player just snapped it out and shot it right into the goal. It was very well done. And to me, when you're looking at what makes hockey good hockey, it's aggression, but it's also intention. It's awareness of being able to see this is where they're headed, and we're intending to take that back. And this defense really held strong. 4 penalty kills. I think it ended up being 5 by the end of the day. 5 or 6 that the Flyers, more opportunities the Flyers had that they couldn't capitalize on. Which leads me to number 5, which is where do these two teams go from here? And you look at the stats here in this conference, and Philadelphia with that loss is now down to 7th in the division, or in the conference rather, which is where they were. But you're looking at teams that could catch up and could really get hot soon. You got Tampa Bay, the Lightning, who have been playoff contenders for at least the last several years. That they can easily catch up into a rhythm. Same thing with Toronto. They can always get into a rhythm. Carolina's right at the doorstep, only a point behind. So there really is an opportunity here with Philadelphia. You saw a breakdown. The Caps scored 4 goals in the first 6 minutes of the third period. The absolute self-destruction of this Philadelphia Flyers team, which is what I saw. And you saw the pressure get to them. They had to make a goalie change, and that really was telling. Just the whole pressure of the situation really cracked, especially after a loss to Boston, which was really ugly gameplay by these Flyers team. And now they have a 5-day break when they really need to be continuing to grind on the ice. And even the commentator said it right towards about halfway through the third period. He said there's really no upside to having a five-day break for this Flyers team, especially when the break coming into All-Star Weekend, which is only in the next couple weeks. It's who knows what's going to happen with this Flyers team, but this break comes at a bad time when they really need to step back and reevaluate some of the basic movements, really just getting the pass precision, because the passes meant well, but the puck control, the reception of those passes was really what killed this team, what caused a lot of those goals on the Caps side. And the 3 for the last 11 going into a 5-day week, and then maybe get 4 games, and then they're into the All-Star break. And they have to be careful here that they're continuing to keep their eyes on the prize here, otherwise they could easily fall out of this playoff contention. And as far as the Caps go, this Caps team, it's easy to show why they're at the top of the Eastern Conference right now. Their offensive execution with Ovechkin goes without saying. With Oshie, I think his name is those guys, they're really keeping that precision, but that's what we've come to expect from the Caps. What really makes this team shine is their defensive perimeter that they've been able to keep throughout the Flyers, really keep those Flyers at bay. And you've seen that through a lot of the games. They have a 9-game win streak. They're feeling great. They're going up to face the Stanley Cup defending champions Pittsburgh, who are the 4 seeds, so they're still in pretty rough contention. But if they play like they did today, then I really don't see how the Caps could lose that, and they're in a really prime position as we head into All-Star Weekend. So we're going to have to see how the rest of it folds out. But for what it was worth, a fun game to watch, disappointing for the Flyers, and we're going to have to see how both teams move from here on out. That's all I got to say. My name is SMC, and we'll catch you later.